Commander Tom Marley had seen many things during his 30 cycles serving the Galactic Council. He had witnessed gas giants collapse, watched entire civilizations negotiate peace treaties over fermented beverages, and once accidentally walked into a Vrexian mating ceremony that he still refused to discuss. But nothing, absolutely nothing, could have prepared him for what he was about to witness on the frozen wasteland known as Terra-Seven. The landing thrusters hissed as his ship, the Endeavour's pride, settled onto the ice with all the grace of a drunk Thoraxian trying to parallel park. Through the viewport, Tom could see endless white, just white. Miles and miles of soul-crushing, hope-destroying. Why did anyone think living here was a good idea? White. Commander, chirped Moran, his navigator, her antenna twitching nervously. External temperature reading is stable at -40 degrees standard. -40, Tom repeated, his mandibles clicking in disbelief. That is not a temperature, that is a war crime. Beside him, Quartermaster A, an insectoid whose species name was entirely unpronounceable and thus had simply given up and chosen a letter, made a sound like grinding metal. So at this temperature my exoskeleton would literally crack and shatter. I would become effectively a very expensive pile of chitin shards. Nobody is becoming shards, Tom said firmly, though he was already feeling cold just thinking about it. Everyone, double-check your thermal suits, and then triple-check them. And you know what? Check them a fourth time. I am not filing paperwork about frozen crew members. The crew bustled about, pulling on their environmental suits. These were not simple jackets. Oh no, these were masterworks of engineering, containing 7 separate layers of thermal insulation, 3 independent heating systems, emergency oxygen supplies, and enough backup power to run a small city. They cost more than most starships. They were, quite literally, designed to keep a person alive in the void of space. Tom squeezed into his own suit, immediately feeling like he was wearing a small apartment building. He waddled toward the airlock, followed by his crew, who collectively looked like a parade of extremely nervous, overstuffed pillows. "All right," he said, his voice muffled through the suit's communication system. "We are simply here to make first official contact with the human colony, confirm they are alive and well, deliver supplies, and leave. Simple. Easy. Nobody dies of cold." The airlock door opened, and the temperature display inside Tom's helmet immediately started flashing red with warnings. Apparently, his suit was very concerned about his life choices. They trudged down the boarding ramp, their boots crunching on ice that was probably older than most governments. In the distance, Tom could see the colony dome, a large transparent structure that seemed to be the only sign of civilization on this frozen nightmare of a planet. And that is when he saw it. The figure. At first, Tom thought it was equipment malfunction. Perhaps a cargo container had fallen over. Or maybe it was some kind of local wildlife, though what kind of creature could possibly survive in this temperature was beyond his comprehension. Then he thought maybe it was a corpse, frozen solid, standing upright in some kind of morbid ice sculpture. But then the figure moved. It waved. "By the 7 stars, Moran whispered, her voice crackling through the communication channel. Is that a person?" Tom squinted through his visor. The figure was definitely humanoid. Bipedal, approximately 2 meters tall. And unless Tom's eyes were malfunctioning along with his sense of reason, wearing nothing but pants and boots. Just pants and boots. No shirt, no coat, no thermal suit. No 7 layers of advanced technology designed by the greatest minds in the galaxy to prevent immediate death. "Sensors must be broken, Quartermaster," A said, though he did not sound convinced. "There is no possible way a biological organism is outside in this temperature, without protection." The figure started walking toward them. As it got closer, Tom could make out more details. It was definitely human. One of those strange bipedal mammals from Earth that had recently joined the galactic community. The human had dark hair, brown skin that seemed entirely unbothered by the fact that it should be experiencing rapid cell death, and was smiling. The human approached their group, and stopped a few feet away, visible breath puffing in the frozen air. "Hey there," he called out, his voice cheerful and disturbingly casual. You folks the supply delivery? We have been expecting you. Name is Brandon Torres, Colony Logistics Coordinator. Tom stared. His crew stared. Even the ship's external cameras were probably staring. You, Tom began, then stopped. He tried again. You are outside. Yep, Brandon said, looking around as if just noticing. Sure am. Without a suit. Oh yeah. Did not really think I would need one for a quick check. You guys okay? You look a little overdressed. Overdressed. They looked overdressed. Tom was wearing enough thermal protection to survive a supernova, and this human thought he was overdressed. Maureen stepped forward, pulling out her medical scanner with trembling hands. She waved it at Brandon, studying the readouts with increasing confusion. His core temperature is normal. That cannot be right. Let me recalibrate. I'm feeling fine, thanks, Brandon said pleasantly. Though I have got to say it is a bit chilly today. Probably should have grabbed a shirt, but I was in a hurry. He rubbed his bare arms briefly, then shrugged. Anyway, you folks need help unloading? I can give you a hand. A bit chilly, Tom repeated slowly, testing the words in his mouth as if they were from an alien language. Which, technically, they were, but that was beside the point. Yeah, you know it is usually around -30 this time of year. Dropped down to -40 last night. Woke up and thought, feels a bit crisp. Brandon grinned. Wait until winter really hits. Then it gets cold. Quartermaster A made a sound like a kettle boiling over. This is not winter? Nah, this is early fall. Winter does not start for another month. That is when we hit -70, maybe -80 if we are lucky. Lucky, Tom said faintly. He said lucky. Brandon looked at their suits with obvious curiosity. Those things must be super advanced, huh? How many heating elements you got in there? We mostly just use standard insulated clothing when it gets really bad. You know, jackets, gloves, maybe thermal underwear. Maureen's scanner beeped urgently. She stared at it, then at Brandon, then back at the scanner. Commander, according to this, he is not experiencing any thermal stress whatsoever. His body is generating enough heat to maintain homeostasis without assistance. This should not be biologically possible. Well, Brandon said, glancing down at himself. I mean, I am standing here, so it must be pretty possible. He clapped his hands together, the sound sharp in the frozen air. Listen, why do not you folks come inside? We have got hot coffee, and you probably want to get out of those suits. Must be sweating buckets in there. Tom looked at his crew looked back at him. Somewhere in the distance the wind howled across the ice, a sound like the universe laughing at them. Yes, Tom said finally. Coffee sounds good. As they followed Brandon toward the colony dome, Tom could not shake the feeling that the galaxy had just gotten a lot more complicated, and possibly a lot more terrifying. Humans, he decided, were going to be a problem. The colony dome was, much to Tom's surprise, not actually heated to a reasonable temperature. It was barely warmer than outside. His suit's internal thermometer read -15 degrees, which was apparently what humans considered comfortable indoor climate. Sorry about the temperature, Brandon said as he led them through the main corridor. We keep it cool to save energy. Plus most of us find it stuffy when it gets above freezing. Stuffy? Tom repeated, a phrase he found himself doing a lot lately. Above freezing is stuffy. Yeah, you know how it is. You get too warm, start feeling sluggish. Brandon pushed open a door to what appeared to be the main community center. Emmy, Judge, the delivery crew is here. A woman looked up from a desk, smiled warmly, and walked over. She was wearing a light sweater and pants. Just a sweater, the kind of clothing Tom might wear to a casual dinner party on a temperate planet, not on a frozen death sphere. Welcome to Terra-Seven, she said, extending her hand. I am Amy Kowalski, Colony Administrator. We are so excited to finally meet you in person. How was the trip? Tom shook her hand cautiously, half expecting it to be ice cold. It was not. It was warm. Her hand was warmer than his suit's internal heating system. This was wrong. Everything about this was wrong. The trip was fine, Tom managed. Your world is very white. Oh, is not it beautiful? Amy gestured toward the transparent dome walls. We specifically chose Terra-Seven because of the climate, reminds us of home. Well, parts of home anyway. Parts of Earth are like this? Moran asked, her voice cracking slightly. Sure. Canada, Siberia, Antarctica, Northern Europe, Alaska. Plenty of places. Amy laughed. Though I will admit, Terra-Seven is a bit more consistent. Back on Earth you would get these annoying warm spells in summer. Annoying warm spells, Quartermaster, I muttered. She considers warmth annoying. Commander, I am going to need a moment to process this information. Another human approached, this one a tall man with grey hair and an official-looking badge. Judge Quintara. He introduced himself with a firm handshake. Galactic Council Liaison, here to ensure everything is up to code. Though I have got to say, these folks run a tight ship, very impressive operation. You are stationed here? Tom asked. Voluntarily? Oh yes. Requested the assignment actually. I grew up in Minnesota, so this feels like a warm vacation compared to my childhood. Judge Quintara chuckled. My colleagues thought I was crazy, but honestly, it is nice to feel at home. Brandon clapped his hands together. Right, let me give you the grand tour. Follow me and watch your step. Some of the floors can get slippery when people track in snow. They walked through the colony, and with each passing minute, Tom felt his understanding of biology crumble a little more. In the recreational area, humans were playing something called volleyball, running around in shorts and t-shirts, working up a sweat in what Tom's suit assured him was still well below freezing. Moran kept checking her scanner, tapping it, shaking it, and checking it again. This cannot be right. These readings are impossible. Is your equipment okay? Amy asked, genuine concern in her voice. I do not know anymore, Moran admitted. According to this, everyone here should be dead. Very dead. Frozen solid dead. Huh? Amy said thoughtfully. Maybe you need to recalibrate for human biology? We do run a bit warmer than most species. A bit warmer, Marian echoed. Yes. A bit. Like saying a star is a bit bright. They passed through another corridor, and Brandon pointed out the window. Oh, great. The afternoon barbecue is starting. You folks hungry? Tom looked outside. Sure enough, there were humans gathered around what appeared to be cooking equipment. Outside, in the -40-degree weather, one man was flipping burgers while chatting casually with someone else. Neither wore more than jeans and a hoodie. That is, you cook outside? Tom asked weakly. Best way to do it, Brandon said enthusiastically. No smoke build up, and the cold keeps the drinks perfectly chilled. Plus, there is something about grilling in winter that just makes food taste better. Hard to explain. I do not think I want it explained, Quartermaster A said. They continued the tour, passing by what Brandon called the heated pool. Tom's suit immediately started flashing warnings when he checked the temperature. The pool was 4 degrees. 4 degrees. That was not heated. That was barely liquid. And yet there were humans swimming in it. Actually swimming. Doing laps. One woman waved cheerfully at them before diving under the water. Is not it great? Brandon said proudly. We keep it heated year-round, costs a fortune in energy, but totally worth it for morale. That is heated, Tom said, no longer phrasing things as questions because his brain had given up trying to make sense of anything. The small human suddenly sprinted past them, shrieking with laughter. The child, who could not have been more than 7 or 8 years old, was wearing shorts and a t-shirt with some kind of colorful earth animal on it. Another child chased after the first one, equally underdressed, both of them playing tag through the corridor. Quartermaster A made a sound like air escaping from a punctured hull. His legs wobbled, and Moran had to steady him. Are you all right? Amy asked, looking worried. That was a child, Quartermaster A wheezed. A small child. In shorts. Running. I need to sit down. Is sitting down still possible? Have I forgotten how to sit? Kids are always running around half-dressed, Judge Quintara said with a shrug. Try getting them to wear a jacket. Impossible. They complain they are too hot. Tom was about to respond when he noticed several humans near the entrance pulling on additional clothing. Actual jackets. hats, gloves. He felt a brief moment of relief. Finally, they were going to see humans react appropriately to cold. What is happening? He asked Brandon. Brandon glanced over. Oh, the temperature dropped. It is -50 now. Some folks wanted to go on a hike, so they are bundling up. Bundling up, Tom repeated. For -50. Well, yeah, you do not want to be irresponsible about it. Safety first and all that? Moran laughed. It was not a happy laugh. It was the laugh of someone whose entire understanding of thermodynamics had just been thrown into a black hole. Amy smiled at their reactions. I know it seems extreme to other species, but humans are actually pretty adaptable. We evolved on a planet with wildly different climate zones. Our ancestors survived ice ages, deserts, rainforests, mountains, you name it. We are kind of built to handle environmental stress. Built to handle it, Tom said slowly. You make it sound like you were designed to be environmental disaster survivors. Well, Amy said thoughtfully, Earth did try to kill us pretty regularly for a few million years. Guess we got stubborn about it. Brandon suddenly lit up with excitement. Oh, speaking of handling cold, we are doing the ice bath challenge this evening. You folks should watch. It is hilarious. Last week Dave lasted 10 minutes before he finally admitted he was getting cold. Ice bath, Tom said. Yeah, you sit in a tub filled with ice water and see how long you can handle it. It is like a game. Winner gets bragging rights and a free drink at the community center. You sit in ice water for fun. Sure, it is refreshing. Plus it is good for circulation. Very healthy. Quartermaster A made another concerning sound. Tom was genuinely worried the insectoid might actually crack. Judge Quintara checked his wrist device. Oh, the challenge is starting in 20 minutes. We should head over to the courtyard. You will love this. Tom was absolutely certain he would not love this. He was certain he would need extensive therapy after this. But he followed anyway, because at this point, what else could possibly surprise him? Spoiler alert. Many things. Many things. The ice bath challenge had just reached its peak, with a human named Marcus casually sitting in a tub of ice water while eating a sandwich and discussing gardening techniques. When the alarms started blaring, Tom's suit immediately lit up like a festival display, warnings scrolling across his visor faster than he could read them. His communication system crackled to life with a priority alert. Commander Mali. The voice belonged to Admiral Vesci, currently stationed on the orbital platform above Terra-Seven. The Corvian admiral sounded panicked, which was concerning because Corvians rarely panicked about anything. They were a species known for remaining calm during actual supernovas. We are reading a massive atmospheric disturbance heading toward your location. You need to evacuate immediately. Tom's stomach dropped. Define massive. Category 5 blizzard, Commander. Wind speeds exceeding 200 kilometers per hour. Temperature projections show -70 degrees, possibly dropping to -80. This is an extinction-level weather event for most known species. Get your crew to the ship now. Tom spun around to face Amy and Brandon, who were checking their own devices with mild interest. Mild interest. Mild interest. There was a planet-killing storm approaching, and they looked like they had just received a notification about a sale at a grocery store. We need to evacuate, Tom said firmly. There is a catastrophic blizzard approaching. Oh, yeah, Amy said, glancing at her tablet. The big one. We have been tracking it all week. Should be here in about 30 minutes. Then why are you not panicking? Moren shrieked, her antenna rigid with fear. Brandon shrugged. It is just a blizzard. We get them a few times a season. They are kind of annoying because the snow drifts block the doors. But nothing too serious. Nothing too serious, Tom repeated, his voice climbing an octave. Admiral Vesci just used the phrase extinction-level event. Well, sure, for most species, Judge Quintara said reasonably. But humans are pretty good with cold weather. We will just stay inside, maybe make some hot cocoa, play some games. Standard blizzard procedure. Tom stared at him. Judge Quintara was a Galactic Council official. He was supposed to be the voice of reason. He was supposed to understand regulations and safety protocols. Instead, he was talking about hot cocoa. "Commander," Admiral Vashi's voice barked through the communicator again. "Extraction window is closing. You have 15 minutes before the storm hits, and then we will not be able to send shuttles down for at least 12 hours, possibly longer." Tom made a decision. "Crew, back to the ship. Now. This is not a discussion." His team did not need to be told twice. They practically ran toward the exit, their bulky thermal suits making them look like a stampede of terrified marshmallows. Amy called after them. "You are welcome to stay here. We have plenty of room. We will take our chances in the ship, thank you," Tom shouted back. As they rushed through the corridors, Tom could see humans beginning their own preparations. But instead of emergency evacuations and panic, they were calmly putting on jackets. Just jackets. And hats. Some were even smiling, chatting excitedly about something called blizzard party traditions. One woman walked past carrying bags of what appeared to be party supplies. Streamers, balloons, snacks. They were going to have a party. During an extinction-level weather event. They were going to have a party. Tom's crew reached the ship and scrambled aboard, slamming the airlock shut behind them. The moment they were inside, Tom ordered maximum life support and full thermal shielding. The ship's systems hummed to life, creating what was essentially a bunker against the approaching apocalypse. "All crew, strap in, and prepare for extreme weather conditions," Tom announced. "Quartermaster A, I want triple redundancy on all heating systems. Moran, monitor the colony sensors. If those humans show any signs of distress, we attempt rescue." "Understood, Commander," Moran said, though her voice suggested she thought rescuing the humans might be pointless given their apparent immunity to basic physics. The storm hit exactly on schedule. Tom had seen storms before. He had witnessed the ammonia hurricanes on Garthax Prime. He had observed the lightning maelstroms of Zephyr 9. But this was something primal and furious, like the universe itself had decided to throw a tantrum on Terra-Seven's surface. The wind screamed against the ship's hull with a sound like metal tearing. Snow fell so thick that visibility dropped to 0 within seconds. The temperature gauge on the external sensors plummeted, dropping past -60, then -70, then settling at a cheerful -78 degrees. "By all the stars, Quartermaster," I whispered. "Nothing could survive out there, nothing." Tom pulled up the external cameras, trying to get a visual on the colony dome. Through the swirling white chaos, he could barely make out the structure, but what he saw made his blood run cold, which was quite a feat given how much his suit was overheating him at the moment. There were lights, bright, colorful lights, music, faint but detectable through the ship's audio sensors, and movement. Human-shaped movement. Outside the dome, in the storm. "Magnify Sector 3, Tom ordered, his voice barely a whisper. The screen zoomed in, and Tom felt his grip on reality slip a bit further. The humans were outside. They were having their party outside, in the blizzard. In the -78 degree, 200 km/h wind blizzard. Some were building snow structures. Others were engaged in what appeared to be a game involving throwing balls of compacted snow at each other. One group was dancing, actually dancing, in an extinction-level weather event. "I am hallucinating," Moran said flatly. "This is a stress-induced hallucination. None of this is real." A knock on the airlock door made everyone jump. Tom checked the external camera. Brandon stood outside, completely covered in snow, wearing a heavy jacket and what appeared to be a scarf. He was holding a large thermos and waving at the camera. "Is he insane?" Quartermaster screeched. "Does he have a death wish?" Tom, operating on pure instinct and a hefty dose of morbid curiosity, opened the airlock. Brandon stepped inside, brushing snow off his shoulders like he had just come in from a light spring rain. "Hey, thought you folks might want some hot chocolate. Amy makes the best hot chocolate in the colony. Got marshmallows and everything." The airlock sealed behind him, and Brandon removed his scarf. His face was slightly red from the cold, but he was smiling. "You just walked through a Category 5 blizzard," Tom said slowly, "to bring us hot chocolate." "Well, yeah. It is only like a 2-minute walk from the dome. Would have been faster, but the snowdrifts are getting pretty deep. Brandon held out the thermos. You folks okay? You look kind of stressed. Stressed, Moran repeated. He thinks we look stressed. We are watching our entire understanding of biology collapse in real time, and he thinks we look stressed. Brandon poured the hot chocolate into cups he had apparently brought with him. Look, I know it seems weird, but humans are actually built for this kind of stuff. Our ancestors survived the Ice Age with nothing but animal skins and fire. This is actually pretty comfortable compared to that. Your planet tried to freeze you to death, Quartermaster A said, and you just decided to outlast it? Pretty much, Brandon said cheerfully. Earth is kind of a rough place. We have got extreme heat, extreme cold, natural disasters, predators, diseases, and sometimes all of them at once. Humans who could not adapt just did not make it, so we evolved to be ridiculously stubborn and adaptable. That explains so much, Tom muttered, and raises so many more questions. Brandon took a sip of his own hot chocolate. The way I see it, every species adapts to their homeworld's challenges. Yours probably had something that forced you to evolve your particular traits. Earth's thing was just trying every possible method of killing us. Heat, cold, hunger, thirst, gravity, weather, animals, plants that are also trying to kill us, even the water sometimes. We just learned to roll with it. Plants that try to kill you, Moran said faintly. Oh yeah. Poison ivy, poison oak, poison sumac, stinging nettle, giant hogweed, and those are just the ones that cause skin irritation. Do not even get me started on the ones you can eat by accident. Judge Quintara's voice crackled over Brandon's communicator. Hey Brandon, you still with our guests? Tell them the party is going strong if they want to join us. Brandon grinned. You folks up for it? We have got a bonfire going. Someone brought their guitar, and Marcus is attempting to build a snow sculpture of the ship. It is not going well, but it is hilarious. A bonfire, Tom said. In a blizzard. Yeah, the wind actually helps it burn hotter. Science is weird like that. There was a long silence. Tom looked at his crew looked back at him. They were all thinking the same thing. They had signed up to make first contact with new species, to explore strange worlds, to boldly go where no one had gone before. Nobody had mentioned anything about humans and their complete disregard for environmental survival instincts. We will stay here, thank you, Tom said finally, but we appreciate the offer, and the hot chocolate.
No problem. Brandon headed back to the airlock. If you change your mind, just give us a shout.
Oh, and the storm should pass in about 4 hours, maybe 5. Then we will start digging out. He cycled through the airlock and disappeared back into the white chaos outside, leaving Tom and his crew sitting in stunned silence. 4 hours later, when the storm finally subsided, Tom looked out at the colony. The humans were indeed digging out, clearing paths and laughing about how it had not been a big one after all. A big one. That had not been a big one. Tom decided right then and there that he needed a vacation. Somewhere warm, somewhere safe, somewhere humans had not colonized yet. If such a place still existed. The command deck of the Endeavour's Pride hummed with the quiet desperation of people trying to document the impossible. Tom sat at his desk staring at a blank report screen that seemed to mock him with its emptiness. How exactly did one explain the last 8 hours to people who had not witnessed it firsthand? He typed, "First contact with human colony Terra-Seven proceeded without incident." He deleted it. That was a lie. There had been plenty of incidents. They just were not the kind of incidents anyone would believe. He tried again, human colonists display unexpected tolerance to extreme environmental conditions. Also deleted. Tolerance implied they were enduring something difficult. These humans had thrown a party. Commander, Moran said from her station, her voice tired. I have been trying to compile the medical data, and my computer keeps flagging it as corrupted. It thinks I made input errors, because the readings are biologically impossible. Tell your computer to get in line, Tom muttered. My report software just suggested I run a diagnostic check because it thinks I am having a stroke. Quartermaster chittered from his corner. where he had been obsessively reviewing supply manifests as a coping mechanism. I have recalculated our thermal suit specifications 17 times. They are working perfectly, which means the problem is not our equipment. The problem is that humans are insane. A communication window popped up on Tom's screen. General Krufnig, the military observer who had been monitoring the mission from a safe distance on Admiral Vashi's orbital station, stared out with his 3 eyes narrowed suspiciously. "Commander Marley," the general growled, "I have reviewed your preliminary sensor logs. I need you to run a full biological weapons scan on the human colony." Tom blinked. "Sir, I can assure you the humans are not carrying biological weapons." "Then explain to me how an entire colony of carbon-based life forms is surviving conditions that would kill a fully armored shock trooper in under 5 minutes. Either they are using illegal biological enhancement, or they are themselves a weaponized species." "They are not weaponized, General. They are just human." "Just human," General Krafnog repeated, his scales bristling. "Commander, I have read Earth's file. Their planet has 6 distinct climate zones, 7 if you count the polar regions, which apparently humans do live in, for reasons that defy explanation. They have survived ice ages, supervolcanoes, asteroid impacts, and something called the Bronze Age collapse, which seems to have been caused by humans getting bored and destroying their own civilizations for entertainment." "I do not think that last part is accurate, sir. My point stands. These creatures evolved in an environment that actively tried to murder them on a daily basis, and they responded by spreading to every single habitable zone on their planet, and several uninhabitable ones. There are humans living in deserts, tundra, mountains, swamps and underwater research stations." "Underwater, Commander?" Tom rubbed his temples. "Sir, with respect, what exactly are you suggesting?" "I am suggesting," General Krafnog said slowly, "that we need to seriously reconsider humanity's threat classification. Any species that considers -70 degrees party weather is not to be trifled with." Moran spun in her chair. "The General has a point, Commander. Think about it. We have been so focused on humanity's technology, their weapons, their ships, but we completely overlooked the fact that they themselves are the weapon. They are individually capable of surviving conditions that require our most advanced equipment to endure." "They are not trying to be threatening," Tom protested. "They are just living their lives. That is what makes it worse." Quartermaster A threw his manipulators up in exasperation. "They are not even trying. This is normal for them. Can you imagine if they actually decided to be threatening?" Judge Quintara's voice crackled over the communication channel. Apparently he had been listening in. "Gentlemen, if I may interject, I have been living with humans for 3 months now, and I can assure you they mean no harm. They are genuinely friendly and cooperative." "That is easy for you to say," General Krafnog grumbled. "You are human yourself." "Well, yes," Judge Quintara admitted. "But that does not change the facts. Look, humans do not think of themselves as exceptional. We genuinely do not understand why other species find our environmental tolerance strange. From our perspective, you are all just a bit sensitive to temperature variations." "A bit sensitive," Tom said weakly. "We require 7 layers of technology to not die, and we are a bit sensitive." "Exactly," Judge Quintara said, missing the sarcasm entirely. "See, you understand." Admiral Vashi's face appeared in another window. The Corvithian admiral looked like he had aged several cycles in the past few hours. "Commander Marley, I need your official recommendation. Do we approve this colony for continued operation, or do we classify Terra-Seven as a hazard zone?" Tom looked around at his crew. They all looked back at him, with expressions that ranged from exhausted to existentially confused. He thought about Amy and her cheerful pride in the colony, Brandon and his casual stroll through a Category 5 blizzard, the children playing in shorts, the swimming pool that was legally ice. "Sir," Tom said carefully, "I recommend we approve the colony. The humans are surviving and thriving here. They are happy. They are not violating any regulations, mostly because we never thought to create regulations for this scenario. However, I also strongly recommend we add a notation to their file." "What kind of notation?" Environmental hazard species, Tom said. Not because they are dangerous, but because they make everywhere they live seem less dangerous by comparison, which could give other species a false sense of security. Also, I recommend mandatory briefings for any non-human personnel assigned to human colonies about realistic temperature expectations. Environmental hazard species, Admiral Vashi repeated slowly. I am going to have to explain that classification to the Council. Tell them it is for their own safety, sir, and their sanity. General Kraftnog grunted. I still say we should monitor them closely. Any species that parties in extinction-level weather events bears watching. Noted, General, Tom said. But I think the real threat is not what they will do to us. It is what they will do to our understanding of physics, biology, and reasonable behavior. Moren pulled up a star chart. Commander, I have been looking at human colonization patterns. They have requested colony rights to 17 different worlds. 12 of them are classified as extreme environment planets that we rejected as unsuitable for habitation. Of course they did, Tom muttered. What should I tell the Council? Admiral Vashi asked. Tom took a deep breath. Tell them the truth, sir. Tell them that humans are friendly, cooperative and completely out of their minds when it comes to environmental tolerance. Tell them that Terra-Seven is successfully colonized and operating within all safety parameters as defined by human standards, which are apparently much lower than everyone else's. And tell them that if we ever end up at war with humanity, we should surrender immediately and hope they show mercy. You really think they are that dangerous? Sir, I think they are that resilient, which is far more terrifying than dangerous. You can defeat dangerous, but resilient just keeps coming back. There was a long pause. Finally, Admiral Vashi nodded. Approved. I will submit your report along with my own observations. And Commander. Yes, sir. Take some leave when you get back. You look like you need it. Thank you, sir. I plan to spend it somewhere tropical, somewhere warm, somewhere very, very far from any humans and their winter vacation planets. Admiral Vashi's expression suggested he thought that was an excellent idea. The next morning, Tom and his crew prepared for departure. The supplies had been delivered, the reports filed, and everyone was ready to return to the comforting normalcy of space, where temperature was a predictable vacuum, and nobody threw parties in lethal weather conditions. Brandon and Amy met them at the landing pad to see them off. Both wore light jackets, which Tom now understood was their version of extreme cold weather gear. Thanks for visiting, Amy said warmly. I hope the trip was informative, and sorry if we freaked you out a bit with the whole blizzard thing. A bit, Tom said, which was possibly the understatement of his career. I have to ask though, do you genuinely not realize how extreme your living conditions are? Amy and Brandon exchanged confused glances. Extreme, Brandon said. I mean, it is a little cold, sure, but Terra-Seven is actually one of our vacation colonies. We picked it specifically because it is mild and comfortable. Tom's brain made a sound like a computer crashing. Vacation colony. Mild and comfortable. Yeah? Amy nodded enthusiastically. We have way harsher colonies. There is Terra-9, which averages minus 120 degrees. Then there is New Siberia, which is even colder. Oh, and the research station on Frost's Edge. But that is not really a colony. That is just scientists who wanted to see how cold a place could get before it became inconvenient. Inconvenient, Morin whispered. Not impossible, not lethal, inconvenient. Brandon scratched his head. I guess we just do not think about it much. Earth had places like Antarctica and the Arctic. People lived there for thousands of years with way less technology than we have now. So a place like Terra-Seven is actually pretty easy by comparison. Good infrastructure, reliable power, no polar bears trying to eat you. Polar bears? Quartermaster. A said faintly. There were predators in the frozen regions of your world. Large predators. Oh sure. Huge ones. Polar bears could weigh over 600 kilograms. Beautiful animals. Terrifying, but beautiful. Tom felt something fundamental break inside his understanding of the galaxy. He had spent his entire life believing that civilization required comfort, that species built societies in the most hospitable environments available, but Humans looked at the least hospitable places and said, "Close enough." "Commander Marley," Amy said gently, apparently noticing his existential crisis. "Are you okay? You look a little pale." "Well, paler than usual. Is that normal for your species?" "I am fine," Tom lied. "Just processing some information." "A lot of information." "Too much information, really." Brandon grinned. "Hey, if you ever want to visit New Siberia, let us know. They have an ice sculpture festival every winter. It is amazing. Last year someone made a full-size replica of a starship entirely out of ice." "I will keep that in mind," Tom said, making a mental note to never, ever visit New Siberia under any circumstances whatsoever. The crew boarded the ship, and as the airlock sealed behind them, Tom took one last look at Terra-Seven through the viewport. The colony dome gleamed in the weak sunlight, surrounded by endless white. Somewhere down there, humans were probably already planning their next outdoor activity, completely unbothered by the fact that their planet was essentially a frozen death trap for 99% of known species. "Moran," Tom said as they lifted off, "make a note in the galactic database. Humans can survive and thrive in environments previously classified as uninhabitable. Update all cold weather planet classifications accordingly." "Sir, that is going to require updating approximately 47,000 entries." "I know. Do it anyway. Future explorers deserve fair warning." As the Endeavour's pride broke atmosphere and headed toward the orbital station, Quartermaster A pulled up the human colonization requests again. "Commander, I have been thinking, if Terra-Seven is their idea of a mild vacation planet, and they have colonies that are even colder, what exactly do humans consider uninhabitable?" Tom thought about it. He thought about the children in shorts, the swimming pools that were technically ice, the parties in Category 5 blizzards. He thought about a species that had evolved on a planet actively trying to kill them and had responded with stubborn defiance and barbecues. "Honestly," Tom said finally, "I am not sure humans have found it yet, and that terrifies me more than anything else we have discovered out here." Admiral Vashi's voice crackled over the communication system. "Welcome back, Commander. How was the surface?" Tom leaned back in his chair, exhausted in ways he did not know were possible. "Admiral, you know how we spent decades developing those thermal suits? 7 layers of technology, 3 independent heating systems, enough engineering to keep someone alive in the void of space." "Yes?" The humans thought we looked overdressed. There was a long pause. "Commence updating the galactic database," Admiral Vashi said wearily. "All of it. And someone get me a drink. A strong one." As the ship jumped to faster-than-light travel, leaving Terra-Seven behind, Tom pulled up his final log entry. He stared at it for a long moment, then typed, "First contact with human colony Terra-Seven, successful. Humans remain friendly, cooperative and absolutely terrifying in ways we are still attempting to categorize. They built environmental suits to survive the cold. The humans stepped out in pants and boots and called it mild. Recommend extreme caution in future dealings. Not because humans are hostile, but because they will fundamentally challenge everything you think you know about survival. Mission complete. Requesting extended shore leave. Somewhere tropical. End log." He hit send and closed his eyes. Somewhere behind him, Quartermaster A was still muttering about polar bears. It was going to be a long trip home,